Hey there, Internet. I spend a lot of time thinking about quality. Why do I spend so much time thinking about quality? The reason is when you're out in remote places, camping for months at a time like we do in an Airstream, you're vulnerable, right, to stupid failures that are caused by bad quality. For example, I broke the Airstream door handle off in my hand last year, and that was a hard stop to our trip. That did not end well. I called Airstream and told them about it, and they said, oh, you were not supposed to close the Airstream door with the door handle. Bad quality. So with that framing in mind, allow me to direct your attention to the Honda EU7000is fuel-injected inverter generator. This generator is not everything I just said. It's an incredibly reliable piece of equipment. In fact, it's so reliable, it almost does something bad, which is it kind of recedes to the back of my mind, and I tend to forget about it because it's old reliable. It's always there. It always works. So imagine my surprise when last summer we actually had a problem with this generator. It was starting to sputter and cough. The inverters were coming on and off violently. And I thought it was fuel maybe at first. Maybe I got water into the fuel. It had rained. I didn't cover the fuel cans. So I replaced the fuel. That didn't do the trick. So being out in the middle of nowhere, I called around and found a place in Montrose, Colorado, Bruce's small engine repair, and walked him through it. And thumbs up to those guys, by the way. They were incredibly helpful. And he walked through it on the phone with me, and he said, yeah, how many hours are on that generator? And so I went out and looked, and I said, yeah, there's about 3,000 hours. And he said, yeah, that's about when the fuel pumps go. So like, think about that for a minute. 3,000 hours of operation, 3,000. This generator's been baked, rained on, hail. It just is reliable. So yeah, so we have a bad fuel pump. So I humped the generator down there just in case, and he hooked it up to a load and put a fuel pressure gauge on it, and sure enough, bad fuel pump. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace the fuel pump. Also, even though now I know it probably wasn't bad gas, I am gonna replace the gas cap too, because I'm here and it is a little bit of the downtime, so I have time to do work on the generator. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up to the Airstream, and we're going to let her pull load for a couple of hours. You know, the Airstream pulls with both air conditioners a little bit over 3,000 watts. We're going to let her pull for about 2 hours, and we'll see if we've got this problem fixed. So the first thing I'm going to do is drain the fuel tank. Primarily, I want to get a good look in there. I feel like I noticed when I did replace the fuel out in the field last year, there was some grit in there, so I just want to get a good look in there. Got a nice fuel-capable fire extinguisher here. I'm going to use this siphon kit to pull the fuel out, and while I'm at it, it's not quite the beginning of the season yet. We got, you know, sadly a couple more months to go, so I am going to add some sea foam to the fuel also to stabilize it while she's in storage. Almost empty. There we go. Last little bit. One of the interesting things about editing video I have discovered is it grants you the superpower of traveling through space and time. I showed up to this shoot a couple of weeks ago with a brand new gas cap because I want to replace this one, and opened it up and discovered that the gas cap did not come with a seal. So this is a result. I sent a message to myself back in time to show up to this shoot with the right part number. So notice that it ends in a 3-1. This is the fuel cap that comes with a seal. Okay. So this is a lanyard. Now it's interesting the way they've shipped this. So I have to actually pull this off, and then I'm going to reinstall the part. It appears completely symmetrical to me. Okay, so now we have our new, shiny new gas cap. Shiny and chrome. What movie is that from? Only my favorite movie ever. So I'm going to pull out the old one. So it appears to be just held in kind of with these clips that are just held in by pressure. Okay. Okay, we have relieved the old one. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. Here we go. Next, we're going to pull the fuel pump out. Everything on this Honda is a 10. And we'll zoom to show you getting these connectors unhooked. Okay, so we've got the power connector to the pump disconnected, the fuel line disconnected. Here's the replacement pump part. And one thing that I thought was kind of nice is it comes with the filter already, so we don't have to do that. That's a free component of replacing the pump. But you'll notice that the pump does not come with the seal, so yeah, this filter is, I can see the filter is a little torn and dirty, so I'm glad we're doing this. We've discovered that this little O-ring here between the fuel tank and the pump is torn. I'm not going to pull it out because I don't want to tear it anymore. Hold on a second. So in the fugue state of combat there, I feel like I didn't communicate very well, so I sent myself a message back through time and changed the script. So the issue here is I didn't really explain when this O-ring is here. That O-ring should be right here on the pump. Instead, it is stuck to the body of the generator. So I told myself to bring some parts, and the parts are thusly. So this is the part number for a new O-ring. And you can also see there's another part here on the pump assembly. It looks like an O-ring, but it isn't. It's actually called a dust cover. So this is the part number. And you can see this is where that dust cover goes on the pump assembly. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to remove this old O-ring, and Fred has a nice little pick here, and just toss this thing. So look at that, how damaged that thing is. It's all scored out where it was stuck to the body when I pulled out that pump.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see the debris.
Yeah, so now that I've got the O-ring off, you can see little bits of O-ring debris here, and Fred is doing the camera work to show us that we do have some debris down in the fuel tank. So I'm actually really glad that we did drain the tank. There's just enough fuel left there that what we're going to do is siphon that out, again using my little siphon kit just into a bucket to pull that debris out. And just move it around in there, I guess. So Fred's done a little vacuuming in there, and the tank looks much better. And look at what we pulled out, all those little remnants of O-ring. We're looking at fuel pump removal and installation instructions in the shop manual. So this is the part that I wanted to draw your attention to. I've just mentioned that I've ordered these two parts, which it irritates me endlessly. They didn't just come with the pump, but they didn't. And you can see that just holding what they call a dust cover here, this is this component. It isn't wildly obvious which direction this goes, but it turns out that it goes with this flat part goes towards the body of the generator and acts as something of a dust seal. And this is their attempt at illustrating that. And then the O-ring goes on the next level down. So let's install those now. I got my super zoomies for old person eyes. How's that for sunglasses on my head and super zoomies on my eyes? Okay, so this is, I can already tell actually that this new dust seal is much more pliant. So first I'm going to install that with the orientation will be with this down. I'm being very ginger here because I don't want to damage the brand new pump. Okay. Get my hands out of the way if you want to. Touchdown. There's a little registration here too that tells you kind of where to put the pump. So that registration, plastic registration, goes there. And you can feel that washer when it that O-ring when it seats nice and comfortably there. No, it goes like this. So you may be wondering why I haven't connected the fuel line, and the reason is yes, I could run this generator for a couple of hours and feel somewhat comfortable that I've solved the problem, but fuel pressure is invisible. So instead, what I could do is purchase this part number. This is a $100 part, and it's a Honda specific part that measures fuel pressure, and it also comes with a purge line so that once we're running our test, we can purge out the 40 or so PSI that's supposed to be in here. And you can see that it comes with this portion attaches to the fuel pump, and then this portion over here is the line down to the engine. So I think it's kind of like a little puzzle here, but I'm going to feed these lines under and around so that we can comfortably run the generator with this meter on the unit for the whole time that we're doing this test. So you can see here this angled assembly. This is the portion that hooks into the fuel pump. That's a very satisfying clicky click. And now I'm going to route this portion here is down to the engine. And now we have the meter right there, fuel gauge, pressure gauge. Oh, that you can tell that's a new cap. It feels nice and tight and stiff, the way it should when it was new. The smell of unleaded gasoline. So Fred and I have learned a lesson. Check your damn seals when you're hooking up the pressure gauge before you turn on the generator. So we were at least smart enough to bring the generator out here on the street so we wouldn't blow up Fred's house. But turns out this assembly right here was loose, and we were getting some fuel leaking right around this O-ring assembly. So I'm just going to tighten her up, and we already saw the gauge. The gauge came up. We didn't get any leaks anywhere else, so I think this is the issue. Go for it. We're standing back because. Oh, that's better. 43, right where she's supposed to be. Like butter. 43 psi. We've got our fire extinguisher here, considering that we just turned this on and sprayed fuel everywhere. So we're just being careful. I have the Airstream configured to turn the air conditioners on as soon as we apply power. So we're going to turn it on and we're going to let it run for a couple of hours. She should pull about 3,000 watts, a little bit more. And you can see I have taped down the fuel pressure system here just to keep it from flopping around a little bit, because the generator does vibrate pretty hard when she's working at 3,000 watts. Okay, so we're going to start off at 0 watts. Now I'm going to enable the inverters, and in a few seconds here, that's the first soft start on the air conditioner, so up to 500 watts. Then the compressor will kick in. Okay, 1700. Okay, that's the soft start on the second compressor, almost 2000. Okay, second compressor. So we're at about 3,200 watts, 3,100, that's about right. And let's see what our fuel pressure is. So about 43 psi, that's what the manual says we should be pulling. So we're gonna let this run for a couple of hours, and we're gonna come and check on it frequently to make sure we have no leaks. But so far, no seepage from the fuel pump area and nothing from the fuel pressure system here. Okay, we're at the hour mark. Fuel pressure steady. About 3,200 watts. No fuel leaking. She looks awesome. 2 hours, 3,000 watts, no leaks. Fuel pressure was at 43 the whole time. I think we got her.